Welcome to GTC's Teaching Tidbits. Each episode, we explore a teaching technique, tip, practice, or idea from faculty for faculty. As we start a new academic year, GTC has adopted a new test proctoring tool called Proctorio. Our first 4 episodes of this season are focused on exploring the use of Proctorio. In the following tutorial, Shannon Creighton, who is the Director of Online Learning and the Curriculum and Instructional Support Center, CISC for short, here at GTC, demonstrates the process for setting up Proctorio in our classes. Let's take a look.
All right, today we're going to talk about how to enable Proctorio for your Blackboard Ultra courses. Please note that this is an update to a prior video that I created with a few minor changes to it. So let's get started here. So if you come into your Blackboard Ultra course, and if you come here and do the plus button and do Content Market, and you'll come down and you will pick the Secure Exam Proctor link there, and you'll click Add, and you'll see that it will put it at the top of your course, and make sure that it is the first thing that's in the course. You will need to make sure it is also visible to students. It can't be in a folder, it can't be hidden, any of those things. So it does need to be the very first thing that shows up in your course. Please note that that is a change from the original guidance that we gave in the first video. But it's make sure that the secure proctor exam link is the first thing in the class and that it is also visible to students. Once it is in your class, you will need to click the link, and it will take you, if you have not installed the Proctorio extension, it will direct you to do so. So you'll install Proctorio, and you'll do Add to Chrome, Add Extension, and we'll wait for it. Okay, Proctorio has been added to Chrome. Perfect. Okay. So we'll close out all those windows. We'll come back to our class here. And then we'll see Secure Exam Proctor plugin installed successfully. Please return to your course. Now, it's very important to make sure that that has taken. You want to make sure that you do refresh your screen. It is also a good practice for right now. We have seen a little bit of a bug where you go into another course and that it may not, your exam proctor may not show up. So always click on that Secure Exam Proctor. If you're going to make any changes to Proctorio, click on that and refresh your screen as just a good practice. So now that that is set up, and what we will do is we will go into our test that we have set up here, and we will edit our options. I just have a simple thing set up here. We'll go into your test settings. And the first thing that we will need to do is to set a timer for this, because Proctorio, you'll see enable Proctorio here and it is grayed out. We will need to add a timer. Proctorio does require a timer. So once you set your time, we'll set it at 60 minutes for this one. And now if we come back down, Proctorio is now allowed for us to enable. So we will click on this and it will take us to our Proctorio settings. So in this is where we need to start figure out what settings do we want to have available, or do we want to have turned on. So the first one is record video. Obviously, we want to see what the student is doing. So we want to make sure that that's turned on. If you want to hear the background noise of what's happening in your student's room, make sure that you do that. Turn on record audio. Record screen will screen capture everything that the student is doing, and you'll be able to see in real time as the student is working through their exams what they are looking at on their computer screen. Record web traffic will keep track of all the websites that they try to go to during the exam. It will take a note of that, and that'll be in the post-exam report. You also can have them do a record room, and this will force the student to either do a room scan before the exam start, or you also can turn it on so that it periodically happens during the exam. The periodic one is a little intrusive, and it can interrupt students' train of thought, so I wouldn't suggest that. but you can use it if you feel the need to do so. But I definitely, if you want to do the one at the start, that's not a big deal, or you can just leave it off. That's completely up to you. Some other options on the next is the lockdowns. This one is force full screen, which means that basically the student's test will take up the entire screen and they can't tab off of it and they can't minimize it, and that will force full screen. You can also make sure that the students only have one screen. So if you want to make sure that they don't have a secondary monitor somewhere, you can turn that on. Disable new tabs, make sure that they can't open any new browser tabs while they're in their exam. The close open tabs is just what it sounds like. It will close any other tabs other than the Blackboard tab that it is in. Disable printing if you don't want the students to be able to print a copy of your exam or the test questions, things like that. You can disable printing. Disable clipboard is you can't right click or do control copy or control X or any of those things. That's disabled. You can block downloads. That's pretty self-explanatory. Clear cache means that it will clear the browser history, so there won't be any saved web pages that they could possibly access. Disable right click. There's a lot of functionality with right click as far as copy, paste, cut, those things. Also, prevent re-entry means that if a student leaves the exam, they can't come back into it. Very rarely would I use this because our students with poor internet connections, if they get kicked out of the exam, that would count as their attempt, and they would not be able to get back into the exam. So I'd be very cautious and using this one. As far as verification goes, these are pre-checks before the student gets started in the exam itself. So if you want to verify the video, this will do a webcam check for the student to make sure that their webcam is working before the exam starts. You also can do that with their microphone and verify audio, and also verify that the Proctorio system can see their desktops. These are pre-checks before they even get into the exam. We do want you to turn on the Verify ID for all online classes. Remember, there must be one proctored exam, at least one proctored exam with the ID requirement. That's a Department of Education requirement that we've told them that's how we verify the identity of our students. Verify signature means that you can create a statement such as a non-cheating or academic integrity pledge. You can have the student sign that before they start. Verify login, we actually cover in another video, and this is what you will use for your third-party exams, such as Cengage or Pearson. There is another supplemental video that you can use that we go over the options of how to use that, but that is there. You can also come up with calculator and whiteboard. So if you want the students to have access to a calculator and not use their own, you can turn that on. And there is a basic and a scientific one that is available. And also the students can have a scratchboard whiteboard where they can use their mouse to write on a screen if you want them to have scratch paper, but you don't want them to use an actual piece of paper. The exam settings here will just give you a brief synopsis of what's going to happen and how much requirement on internet speed. You can see it's pretty low. Proctor behaviors. So if you want to have some predefined proctor behaviors, like if you want to be lenient, these are just kind of pre-group or pre-settings that have already been kind of pre-mixed for you. So you could turn them on if you're not sure which options to pick. You could go lenient, recommended, moderate if you don't want to go step by step. But if you go through the aboves, it will set it in a custom behavior setting, so you can just leave that there. So once you get away, there's tons more information here that you can pick as far as metrics and things like that, and tell how picky and how strict you want to be on your exams. So once you get all of that done and get all the settings that you want, you come down and click Save Settings, and that will then turn on Proctorio and you'll see Settings Saved. Once you get that, you can close this window, go back to your exam, and make sure you click Save here. One other thing I want to point out too is that when you turn this on, you see that your access code is now filled in. Don't change that. That is pre-created by Proctorio. And so make sure that you do not change that access code once Proctorio sets it for you. Please leave that there. Okay. and you'll click Save. And now you are in your exam and you can finish creating your exam or anything like that. If you ever need to come back in and change any of the settings, you see now we have this Proctorio settings view and change. You can click on that and it'll take you back into all those settings that we just had, and you can make changes to that. I believe that this does lock after the first student takes their exam, because you don't want to have different standards for students once they've started the exam, but you can change it up until that point. So then we'll come back to our test, our homepage here, and also notice that the test now has this tag on the end that says remotely proctored. That's how you know that exam. That's how the students will also know that that exam is going to be remotely proctored. A few things about this: if a student goes to take their exam in Proctorio, it is a good practice to tell them to go ahead and click on the Secure Exam Proctor again, just to ensure that their extension is active and they have downloaded it. I would have them do that before every exam, just as a good practice, before any practice quizzes. Just advise your students to do that and refresh your screen just like we did before, and then go into taking their test. There is a separate video that I've created for Blackboard Original. So if you are using a Blackboard Original course this semester, please go to the next video and watch that. Or if you're using a third-party exam, there is also a different video for you to watch that is specific to those. One limitation to Proctorio at this time, which we are talking to them about, is that you cannot, as the instructor, go in and do a preview student version of this. So you won't be able to see what the student is seeing. If there is an issue and you absolutely need to see that, contact the CISC office and we can help you with that. But the general rule is that you as an instructor cannot take the exam as a student. And we cannot come up with student accounts for everybody because of pricing and things like that. So that is one limitation to the software at this point. We are in negotiations with them to try to get that fixed, but we do not have a fix for that at this moment in time. So hopefully this helps. If you've got any questions, let us know. Thank you. One last thing I wanted to show you was how to get to the Proctorio Help Center that has a ton of video and resources for you. If you go directly to proctorio.com and click on Support, and then Help Center, and then you'll scroll down, accessing the Help Center. You'll see here the Help Center is only be available to the users with Proctorio extension enabled. To access the Help Center, log into your learning management system or assessment platform and have a Proctorio enabled assessment open. So if you click on this, just by going to proctorio.com directly, you'll just be rerouted through this page over and over again. So what it's telling you to do is to go into your Blackboard, and we will find a course that has a Proctorio exam enabled. And I'll just go in here and I'll just click on the exam proctor, make sure that my system is refreshed. Then I'll click on Help Center and I'll go to Help Center again. And this time it will actually bring me to the Proctorio homepage. As you see, there are several different buckets here: general support, administrators, professors support, and also student support. So professor support, you can come in and see McGraw-Hill, you can see using best practices. So there's a lot of videos and things that you can look at here. If you've got specific questions, you can search for things. Great way to do that. So I just wanted to show you the little quirk about getting into the Help Center is that you actually have to go into a course that has Proctorio enabled first, and then go to the Help Center and you will be able to get in. It's a neat little security feature that they have built in so that you all can have access to it, but it keeps people that do not have Proctorio contract from getting into those. So feel free to go in here and look around and see any additional videos that you may want to see, or be able to check here for any other questions. Thank you.
A special thanks to Shannon Creighton for creating this tutorial and for making it available for this episode. If you want to continue the conversation with Shannon, you can reach out to him at his email address. That is shannon.creighton@gvltec.edu. You could also reach out to the CISC department email That is CISC at my.gvltec.edu, and a member of the CISC team will connect with you. If you have questions you'd like answered or topics you'd like to see covered in this series, please let me know. You can send me an email at rachel.cobb@gvltec.edu. And as always, if you have a teaching tidbit worth sharing, or you know someone who does, let me know so we can feature them on an episode. That's this week's GTC Teaching Tidbit, and we'll see you next time.